So next we're going to find some inspiration pieces. You have this idea of what your story is going to be about, what your song is going to be about, but are there other songs that you know of that get pretty close to what it is that you're trying to go after? And artists and composers do this all the time. Artists look to other artists who have done this before them and see how they've accomplished what they are trying to achieve with their music. And as we go through this course, we're going to learn how to analyze on a deeper, more technical level. But even if you don't know any music yet, we're going to find some inspiration for songs that you want. So that way you can listen to them and start picking apart what these composers have done and learn from them to incorporate that into your music. So for my song, I picked 4. On your sheet, there's 3 slots. I would recommend at least 3, so you get a wide breadth of different sources of inspiration. It's going to help differentiate your song from any one of those. But too, it opens up your mind to a wide breadth of possibilities. So have at least 3. I picked 4. And the 4 that I picked are Fight for Freedom from Final Fantasy XII, Reviving Hollow Bastion from Kingdom Hearts 2, and then I couldn't pick between either one, so I chose 2 Shadow of the Colossus songs, which is a great game. But Revived Power and a despair-filled Farewell from Shadow of the Colossus. So in this inspiration, right, you just drop those song names, and then I have a link to them just so I can quickly click to them and not have to worry about looking them up. So in this video, right, there's 3 things that I'm trying to achieve when I listen to these songs. One is the general feeling of them. Second is instrumentation. And then 3 are just favorite parts and the timestamps and like why they're my favorite parts, right? So the general feeling for each of these is like, when I listen to the song, what are the different emotions that come through me when I listen to it? What is the picture that's painting in my head? And then instrumentation is making note of any instruments that they're using, but specifically like how they're using texture and color, which is like, the timbre of the instruments. Real quick, timbre is a term for why an instrument sounds different from another instrument. It's why when you play C on a piano and you play that same C on a guitar, or you sing a C, that's why they sound totally different. You can be like, oh, that's a piano, that's a guitar, and that's a person. That's timbre. So instrumentation is where we start looking at, what are the textures and the timbres and things like that of the instruments, and how do those contribute to those feelings. And then have timestamps so we can go back real quick and look at them. And then finally have favorite parts and those timestamps. So like, what about that song do I absolutely love? Why is it when I listen to this section of the song, it makes me feel a certain way, and how do I want to capture that? So I'll go through and I'll show you a little bit of each of these. I'm not going to play the whole song for copyright reasons, even though I'm going to be playing them on YouTube. But I'll show you the little bit. So let's start with Fight for Freedom. I'm going to open this bad boy up. Cool. So let's go to 4:15 and 4:16, right? This instrumentation. And here I wrote at 4:15, there's this rush of violas paired with the breath of violins, with the trombones. It's just like, it reminds me of John Williams. And it just, when you listen to this song, there's this moment of where just everything opens up and it's just this breath of like fighting and like, I call it piss and vinegar. Like, you're just about to get into this fight. And there's so much bravery and valor in this moment that just makes you feel like a total badass when you listen to it. So let's listen to 4:15 of Fight for Freedom of Final Fantasy XII. And then it goes into that motif. I can love that part, okay? So again, you can hear, listening to that, what I mean. There's just like, like, just everything comes together, just open up this piece of music. It's amazing. Now let's try Hollow Bastion. Um, oh, real quick before I do that, the general feeling of this song when I hear "Fight for Freedom" is there's clear motifs between the Kingdom of Dalmasca and the Arcadian Empire going to war. Highly recommend you play that game, but they're pretty much like two countries going at it, and they each have their own motif. And this whole song plays with these motifs, these ideas that are tied to each of these countries, and whether it's twisting them around or altering like their, when I say intervallic structure, for now we'll learn about what that means, but whether or not it sounds happy or sad or twisted, to articulate these feelings of desperation and hope, and it combines these motifs as like together and clashes them together as if these empires are actually fighting, which they are in the game. So now that said, let's move on to Reviving Hollow Bastion. Now, when I hear this song, it is the word that comes to my mind is tainted. There's this eerie peacefulness marked by this tainted history of Hollow Bastion, and again, Hollow Bastion. And again, if you've ever played Kingdom Hearts, you know that Hollow Bastion was a really, I'm going to try not to spoil it in case you haven't played it, but there was a lot of really amazing work and positive work, theoretically, that was done in Hollow Bastion that quickly turned negative and like tainted this entire world. And it's rebuilt in Kingdom Hearts 2, so it's a little happier than it was in Kingdom Hearts 1, but it's still kind of freaking depressing. It's really eerie. It's super cool, but we'll hear, I'll play from 35 on so you can hear this like modulation. So modulation is changing keys. We'll get into that later and how to do that. But you'll hear like this music go up, like start from down and it goes up. And then at 42, you'll hear this organ gives this song all of a sudden this feeling of a dirge. Like you're playing this at a funeral. Like, yeah, things are good here, but shit still went down. So let's hear Reviving Hollow Bastion from Kingdom Hearts 2. Like that organ in the background, if you didn't catch it, I'm going to play it one more time. But it makes it feel like you're in a cathedral, like someone just died. Like that little coloring in the background really gives it a different flavor. And imagine if it wasn't there. It wouldn't be the same. Cool. Next, Revived Power from Shadow of the Colossus. Bombastic. This song like has these really massive drums in it that make you feel like you're fighting an ancient being, i.e. the Colossus, or Colossi in this game. And the motif in this musical like melodic idea that plays over and over and over at the beginning is just oh no, it makes you feel like you just climbed on top of Mount Everest, but Mount Everest is moving. It's soaring, it's fast, and it's backed by these just like just massive dynamite freaking drums. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna start this song. We're gonna hear it a little bit past the 6 seconds, and you'll hear those big sounding drums, which like root it and give it this earthy feel. And then I want you to pay attention to this, motif played by the strings on top, and it's wow, it's awesome. just super awesome, victorious, but you're kind of shit in your pants feel. Next song is finally A Despair-Filled Farewell. And I'm going to show you 118 because this is probably one of my favorite moments in all of music, in video games, and just in general. Like, there's just this gut-wrenching section of this, right? So real quick, Desperate-Filled Farewell. Very dangerous feeling. You're soaring like you're flying. You're actually on a bird colossus, which is apt for this one. But in 118, there is this moment where you have this, like, you're building up this hope, like you're getting somewhere, and then everything just falls. I don't know how else to explain it, but you'll hear the strings and the horns just blaring like there's victory on the end, and then it's just fucking ripped away from you. 118, let's give it a listen. And try not to cry too hard. But if you do, I won't judge you. Like, it's so great. So anyway, that's what we want to go after, right? On this sheet, we're creating the brief overview of our story. We are finding songs that match or get close to some of these feelings that we want to accomplish. And then we're analyzing it. How does it make you feel? What are some favorite parts of the instrumentation, and how is that affecting you? And what are just your favorite parts in the song and why? And timestamp them so you can go back. So with that said, now it's time for your homework. First, listen to the songs, like all the songs that I chose, and read my notes. Because I want you to hear these things in context. Again, I didn't want to play the entire songs for copyright issues, but I highly recommend that you do those. So that way you can see kind of how my mind was thinking when I was picking out those songs. 2, write down how they make you feel in general, and then find parts and timestamp parts where the instruments or just favorite parts, like how did the instruments come together to create a certain feeling that you really liked in that song? And what were some favorite parts in that you could identify and say, like, hey, I really loved, 30 seconds into this song because it gave this sense of victory, or it felt very small village in a tundra feel. You know what I mean? Again, listen to my songs and read my notes so you get an idea of what to do, and fill out this inspiration section of the mix sheet. When you're done with that, we'll move on to our next composition video, which is we're going to hopefully find some sheet music of this stuff and do some quick analysis and get you started reading some sheet music.